Bill 423. Second, to add the following instructions. First, instruct the city planning to incorporate amendments to the proposed affordable housing streamlining ordinance that would align regulations with the most current version of ED1 issued on July 1, 2024, as well as reflect upon citywide regulations referenced in the proposed ordinance that were updated or adopted since the City Planning Commission recommended ordinance was transmitted for the City Council's consideration in November of 2023, including the Citywide Housing Incentive Program, or CHIP, and Resident Protections Ordinance. Second, to instruct the Planning Department in consultation with the City Attorney to incorporate the proposed ordinance into the new zoning code, parentheses, Chapter 1A of the LMAC, subject to changes conform to the format style of the new zoning code and transmit both revised Chapter 1 and Chapter 1A proposed ordinances to the council file. And third, to instruct the Planning Department and Housing Department in consultation with the City Attorney to develop and implement guidelines to ensure that Executive Directive 1 projects comply with the principles of Assembly Bill 686. And then for item 8, the amendments would be from Councilman Hernandez. One, add that the report back should be within 90 days. And second, to add an additional instruction to the departments instructed in the motion moving clause to report back on the impact of the most recent state and local streamlining efforts implemented to expedite the development of housing, e.g. Executive Directive 1, State Density Bonus, Citywide Housing Incentive Program, and in close proximity to active, idle, plugged, and or abandoned oil wells. So those are the three that I'm going to recommend amendments, but to do those on consent. And colleagues, are there any additional items that you wish to call special during this hearing? Seeing no additional items, okay. So if Mr. Mejia, if you could read items 3 through 8 and 10 into the record. Do we need to do that now? And then we'll, I think we need to do public comment first before we do that. Correct? So let's move forward with public comment, and we're going to begin with folks who wish to speak to 3 or more items. 3 or more items, and then we're going to go through item by item, first taking all the consent items, if anyone wishes to speak to those, and then going to the other items. So anyone who does that, just go, anyone who's signed up for more than 3 or more items, please feel free to line up on the left side of the room, house left, stage right. And again, this is not for every item, but if you've signed up for 3 or more items. Okay, let's begin. And when you do come up, please state the name that you signed up under, or if you signed up on multiple names, so we can cross those names off the list. And Mr. Herman, you often sign up under many different names, so we'll see which one you choose today. Mr. Herman? Okay, if someone else is ready, we can move forward. Mr. Herman's taking too long. Okay, Mr. Herman, go ahead.
You know, Bob, let me tell you something. I'm disabled. Don't fucking rush me. If I get hurt in here, it makes you liable if I fall and trip in here, okay?
Stick to the items,
I'm doing my best to get my fucking ass up here. So
relax,
to the items.
Homie. If you're off topic, I'll have you removed.
Fuck item number 1 then. Let's start it off that way. Fuck item number 2, Bob. By the way, Juju, fuck item number 3, Bob. Hernandez and Curran Price, an indicted, soon-to-be jailed House Negro. He signed this second on this document here regarding what? You're going to censor me for spelling out the word cunt? Is that with a K or with that a U-N-T?
Stick to the items, sir. Stick to the items.
Look at item number 4. Ramen, noodle, 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 noodle. It's the same shit, Bob. Fire department and the Department of City Planning, you burn Palisades. You intentionally burned the goddamn hills by not having adequate hydrants and not having that goddamn reservoir.
It's not related to the items. It's your last warning. You need to stick to the items.
Oh, my God. Do we have to go through this every time?
I'd be happy if you just leave. So stick to the items or leave.
I'll stay mainly on the topic, sir. Like, for example, number 6. fucking city attorney's fucking report to fucking court-issued writ of mandate for the fucking judgment for the fucking city council set aside vacant and annual city council's rules of action for planning and land use management in CD3, Bob. LLC Bedrock Property says fuck LA and sustaining the determination of incompleteness, like this fucking city, the way it runs, incompleteness, is all a sham. A big problem, Bob. And then in my final seconds, because there's so many fucking items, fuck the remaining items. Now into my non-agenda public
Nope,
comment.
you're done. General public comment is at the end of the meeting, as you know. I've announced that earlier. Next speaker, please. Next, you can hand it to the sergeants. Next speaker.
Good morning, good afternoon, cunts. So let's see here. Fuck item number 1 and that big old hamburger Hernandez that overrules everybody there. Let's see here. What is this? ELAPP? C? C stands for cunt. Yes, sir. So that's why I'm not gonna support the Mount Washington plan, Bob, because these cunts are getting sued. You know that Stafford B about those secret recordings regarding these Glassell Park and hillsides in CD1, and everybody had their conscience walked out. Let's give her a hand.
Stick
Excellent.
to
Thank
the
you for
items.
breaking quorum. I appreciate it. And then we have a Bob Blabbenbleld item for this thing called the Ventura C Cunt Cahuenga Boulevard Cunt Corridor Specific Plan. I'm against it. It's wrong. Hotels are bullshit, Bob. There ain't no goddamn hotels. There ain't no jobs in no hotels. There ain't gonna be no hotels, Bob. Just poverty. And then we get number 3, and we got Monkey Harris Dawson on the motion regarding the Los Angeles Department of Building and the Department of Cunt City Planning. Again, another C word. Another C word. And then number 4, Nithya Raymond Noodle. And KKK Yaroslawski and the Israeli spy Blee Blobbenblell, the combination of the Rogues Gallery at number 4 for the fire department. You already burned everything down, Bob. Fuck you. And look in the back, Bob. I've got the motion. Signing and stencil.
Okay, next speaker, please.
Good morning, Council President Nuri Martinez. Can I speak on item 1 and item number 2, please? Item number 1. 我見眾音在九堪四方，只有曾分錯，愛說放膽總會內
Stick to the item, sir.
如果很多的信友，this is item number 1. I already informed you. 去到貪心引咎，也欠過很多女人。怕結婚只悔手3分鐘，我現曾化過，要戒煙但見了叫算，夢與閃掉的很遠，但對返工厭倦，至少不會打算。Now I would like to move on to item number 2. 但是因為到你嗌我這廢人，超錯你都肯去忍。人已睡入招計，把悔可親，偏偏你願意懂，為何還喜歡我這種無賴？是怕你蠢，還是很偉大？ 在座每位都驚我猜好比有多快，但你永遠不見怪，何必跟我這種無賴？可打笨生快是很失敗，但是你死都不變心，跟我笑着捱，就算快我也不忍心偷偷責怪。
All right, great, thanks. American Idol is a different place. Okay. Next, sir.
Hi, council members. My name is Nicholas Gardner. I'm here talking on items 3, 5, and 8.
Please.
All right. Hello, everyone. Mr. Chair, members of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. My name is Nicholas Gardner. I'm a resident of CD 14, but I actually grew up in CD 15, and I'm with the Sunrise Movement. I'm here to ask you all to vote for items 3, 5, and 8, and of course, items 3 and 8 as amended by Councilmember Hernandez. Los Angeles has an incredibly long history of toxic oil well pollution and pollution from brownfield sites. Living near these places, on these places, causes a wide variety of health conditions, from respiratory irritation, chronic illnesses, cancer, other chronic conditions. We work with a community group in Vista Hermosa Heights that actually reports that the oil was so rich in their region that they would play with oil nuggets in the ground as kids. So this is a problem that impacts all of us. No council district is immune from the negative impacts of toxic health pollution. So we urge urgent action and ask you to vote for items 3, 5, and 8. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Andrea Caniceres Fernandez. I live in CD5, and I'm here in support of item 3 with amendments, 5, and 8 with amendments. I am a proud member of Sunrise Movement, which is a climate justice organization, and through our work, I have personally seen friends and community members throughout LA be negatively impacted by the uncapped oil wells throughout the city. Oil wells leak out toxic chemicals that are directly linked to respiratory illnesses, strokes, cancers, and serious chronic illnesses. We need public health and safety by creating a process to ensure proper enforcement of oil safety rules, thorough remediation of toxic land, and safe development standards for new housing. By voting yes on items 3, 5, and 8, it will create new rules to ensure independent accountability for safe development and full public transparency so we can keep ourselves safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, esteemed members of the council and everyone who's joining us here today. My name is Samantha Ponchev. I live in District 11. I'm here in support of motions 5 as well as 3 and 8 with amendments because I'm a big fan of sustainable urban development. Everybody knows LA has a housing crisis, but I'm sure we can all agree it wouldn't be good to build new housing on top of untreated oil fields or industrial waste sites, also known as brownfields, that will leak toxins and threaten the health of residents. We all want more housing to be built, but I'd hate to see housing get built and then need to get torn down in a couple of decades because an oil well was improperly capped and started leaking again. This has happened in the past. We've seen buildings be torn down with hardly any notice, displacing residents. I'm also deeply concerned about the impact that living near oil fields and brownfield sites are having on my health and the health of communities across Los Angeles. As I'm sure you all know, living near or on these toxic sites has been directly linked to dangerous chemicals, as my colleagues have also mentioned. I live in Sawtelle, personally. The Pacific Palisades are close by. It was scary navigating rampant air pollution in the result of the fires, having to wear masks outside for weeks, knowing that there were toxins in the air that might not affect me today, but could compromise my health in the future. This is an anxiety no one should have to live with, not from man-made climate disasters such as wildfires, and certainly not from oil field and brownfield pollution that can be prevented right here, today, by agreeing to enforce existent public health policies. Unregulated development on or near these sites will worsen a pre-existing public health crisis. This council has the power and the responsibility to act to protect our communities. Please vote in favor of items 3, 5, and 8. Thank you for your time. I trust you will do the right thing.
Thank you. Next speaker.
All right. Hello, my name is Jacob Montag. I live in LA and I'm a member of Sunrise LA. I'm here to speak in support of items 3, 5, and 8 because I am deeply concerned about the impact that living near oil fields and brownfield sites are having on my health and the health of communities across Los Angeles. Living near or on these toxic sites has been directly linked to dangerous chemicals responsible for respiratory illnesses, cancers, and other chronic illnesses. As someone with asthma and a family history of cancer, I find it unconscionable that we've allowed these hazardous sites to burden our communities with unnecessary health risks and financial burden. Unregulated development on or near these sites will only worsen a pre-existing public health crisis. The city has the power and the responsibility to act to protect our communities, and I urge you to vote yes on items 3, 5, and 8. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Jasmine Smith-Hughes, and I'm a first-year college student in District 2. I'll keep it short and sweet today. I'm here to urge you to support items 3 and 5 with amendments, or 3 and 8 with amendments, and item 5. These items are extremely important to the physical well-being and livelihood of your constituents, and as our council members, it is your responsibility to implement legislation that will negate these harmful sites of oil-ridden and toxic land. On behalf of every young person in this city, I urge you all to do the job that you were chosen to do and fight for our future. Once again, I call on you all to vote in favor of items 3 and 8 with amendments and item 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, friends. My name is G. I live in CD 14, and I, like my friends, am here to ask you to vote yes on 5 and 3 and 8 with amendments. As we know, safe handling of brownfield, acid, and oil wells is always relevant, but it is especially relevant post the wildfires. I know that like the city and all of us have made promises to come together and to help rebuild Los Angeles, and a part of that rebuilding effort is the safe handling of environmental pollutants. The folks that are hit hardest by the fires are also the folks that are living in the backyards of these oil fields. And they're the people who are now having respiratory and chronic illnesses because of these pollutants that made the fires even more devastating to them. The environmental pollutants are also degrading our ecosystem, which caused the overgrowth and drying out of wild grasses that became the kindling during the wildfires. To rebuild LA means to ensure that those wildfires won't happen again. And in order to keep that promise, I urge you to vote yes on 5 and yes on 3 and 8 with amendments. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Celia Codicarese. I live in CD1. I'm here representing Sunrise Movement, Los Angeles, in support of item 5 and items 3 and 8 with amendments. I am deeply concerned about the impact that living near oil fields and brownfield sites are having on my health and the health of communities across Los Angeles. Living near or on these toxic sites has been directly linked to dangerous chemicals responsible for respiratory illnesses, cancers, and other chronic illnesses. I know this firsthand because in Sunrise's work with local community leaders in Vista Hermosa Heights, I've heard far too many stories of the generational impact of these oil wells, of cancers, asthma, headaches, nosebleeds, and other respiratory issues. These community members, like all of our community members, deserve to live in safe neighborhoods without these health impacts, without the smell of methane, and without the fear of an oil well leaking or an underground explosion caused by these uncapped wells. So I urge you again to vote yes on items 3, 5, and 8 for the health and safety of our communities, and to make sure that we can have safe development so we can deal with the housing crisis in a way that will not worsen a pre-existing public health crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Vijay. I'm representing Sunrise Movement Los Angeles, and I'm calling on all of you to support items 3, 5, and 8 with amendments. This is because being able to breathe clean air without any risk of getting asthma, cancer, or any other chronic illness is simply a human right. Being able to live in a house that isn't in any risk of exploding due to elevated methane levels is simply a human right. For this reason, I'm quite worried about the impact that living near oil wells and brownfields is having on the public health of our Los Angeles communities. It's been shown that living near or on these toxic sites have been linked to chronic illnesses, as aforementioned, such as asthma, cancer, and neurological disease. So, unregulated and unsafe development on these sites will only worsen this public health crisis. On active oil wells, it's been shown that acid maintenance practices has been linked to fertility issues. The city has the power and the responsibility to act on these issues and establish common sense regulation that would ensure that developers are properly following the necessary set of rules and create a system of full public transparency so that we can protect ourselves. Moreover, it would also ensure that the toxic land is appropriately remediated. So for this reason, I call on all of you to agendize these items 3, 5, and 8 and support both of these important items. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Tyler Earl, on behalf of Communities for a Better Environment. We are an environmental justice organization that is also part of the Standing Together Against Neighborhood Drilling Los Angeles Coalition. We've been doing tremendous amount of advocacy around the phase out of oil drilling in Los Angeles. Part of that phase out that was recently overturned included a prohibition, or rather the requirement for permits on any acid maintenance work to be performed on oil wells. This is a process where highly corrosive chemicals like hydrofluoric acid are pumped into the ground in order to increase well production. This is very prevalent in locations in South LA as well as in Wilmington, particularly at the Warren drill site. I would like you to imagine perhaps tankers full of acidic chemicals that require very careful hazmat handling being pumped into the ground just, let's say, at the back of the room over here. Let's say where you're sitting on the dais is where you are living in your home. It is literally that close. The Warren site is surrounded on several sides by homes and businesses. And so we are hoping that you particularly pass agenda item number 5. I'm also here in support of agenda items 3 and 8. But agenda item 5 is particularly urgent as it will take a while to re-adopt the phase-out ordinance that will include acid maintenance work, and in the meantime, this work needs to stop now in order to protect residents' health. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, I'm commenting in favor of items 3, 5, and 8. I'll focus my comment on the acid maintenance motion, item 5, but it's relevant for all 3. My name's Tiana. I'm personally in CD10, and I'm representing the Stand LA Coalition and Black Women for Wellness. I'd like to paint a picture about what it's like for a community member near an active oil well when acid maintenance is happening. Imagine that it's a morning, and you're walking your child to school, when suddenly you see and hear 2 to 4 massive tanker trucks, each with a carrying capacity of 5,000 gallons. You see them enter the oil field, and you see a sign that says, "Stop, danger, high-pressure chemicals in use." You see workers in head-to-toe protective gear, masks and all, as you and your child stand in plain clothes. Then moments later, you smell chemicals in the air, sometimes an endocrine-disrupting odorant that's been added to confuse residents about what's going on. And while this is happening, imagine yourself or your child feeling headaches, getting a nosebleed, plants wilting and dying downwind of the site, which residents we work with have photos of. Imagine trying to live your life in your community while the oil company operating near your home is dumping thousands of gallons of acid into your neighborhood with extremely limited oversight, little or no notice, and never notice with same-day certainty, or a list of chemicals used and their potential effects. None of this is normal or acceptable.
Frontline residents are being exposed to chemicals like hydrofluoric and hydrochloric acid, xylene, polyethylbenzenes, and methanol, many of which are linked to long-term health impacts, including endocrine disruption, cancer, and birth defects. It is not akin to descaling a coffee pot or other claims by the oil companies. It's toxic. Please move forward items 5, 3, and 8. For item 5, please move it forward in order to protect the health and safety of frontline residents from toxic acid maintenance at oil sites. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Zoe Cunliffe, and I am the Environmental Justice Program Manager at Black Women for Wellness and a member of Stand LA. I am here to urge the committee to move forward agenda items 3, 5, and 8. And I'm here mainly to speak about agenda item 5, for which I want to emphasize the importance of moving the motion forward in order to prioritize the health and safety of our communities over toxic acid maintenance at oil sites, and to prioritize our communities, largely frontline communities of color, low-income communities, from these toxic harms instead of prioritizing oil industry profits. Oil companies have taken advantage of the oil phase-out ordinance being overturned in September last year to issue 32 separate notices of acid maintenance in the city of LA between that time and the present day. This acid maintenance involves the use of thousands of gallons of strong acids, which contain toxic chemicals that are linked to long-term health impacts, including cancer, birth defects, endocrine disruption, and other reproductive harms. And this ongoing acidizing work in our communities is evidence of environmental racism here in LA. Despite what oil operators keep claiming, and will doubtlessly continue to claim, this is not just standard practice. There's nothing standard or normal about 2 to 4 trucks full of chemicals pulling up to a site adjoining people's homes, schools, churches, communities, and releasing those chemicals into the air right next to them. Despite claims that public notice is given of these acidizing processes, these notices do not list which particular chemicals are used or their potential health impacts, and do not even list, in some cases, the day on which the acid maintenance will take place, making it impossible for families to know how and when to protect themselves from these chemicals. If these processes are so normal, then okay, I'm out of time, but thank you very much for listening. Please move forward 3, 5, and 8.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Tanya Borja. I work at Scope LA. I'm a member of Stand LA, and I'm here to express my support for items 3, 5, and 8. I urge you to support 3 and 8 with strong amendments to protect frontline communities. On item 5, I urge you to move this motion forward. Since the oil phase-out was overturned September 2024, oil companies have filed 32 acid maintenance notices. This process uses toxic chemicals like hydrofluoric acid, methanol, linked to cancer, birth defects, and serious long-term health issues. Workers performing acid maintenance wear full protective suits, face shields, and chemical gloves. They work behind red signs saying, "Danger, stop, high-pressure chemicals in use." But these signs are often hidden inside the drill site. Meanwhile, families and children living next door have zero protection. How is that not harmful? Even the city acknowledges that the health and environmental risks tied to these operations. Please pass items 5 and ensure items 3 and 8 are included with the necessary amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I believe that is the last of the comments for folks who are here to speak on 3 or more items. Again, folks who've signed up for 1 or 2 items, you'll still get an opportunity. So next, colleagues, we have a number of items here. Again, items 1 and 2, we're going to continue those as mentioned. I'm going to move that we we're going to adopt items 3 through 8 and number 10. And again, specifically, as we mentioned, again, for items 4 and 5, the recommendation is going to be to adopt the motions. And for items 3, 7, and 8, it's going to be to adopt the motions as amended. But before we get to that, if anyone is here who signed up to speak to 1 or 2 of those items that mentioned, please come line up now. And I believe there are a few folks who have signed up for for those items, come forward. And let us know which item or items you've signed up for. And obviously this is for folks who have not spoken already, so welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Fernando Ochoa. I'm the Service Political Director for Sheet Metal Workers Local 105, representing thousands of skilled workers who install and maintain critical building systems, including fire life safety systems, and perform exit stairway, air balancing / pressurization for occupants to exit in the event of a fire. I'm not here to talk to you about jobs today. I'm here to talk to you about safety. We strongly urge you to remove item number 4 from consent and delay any decision on item number 4 until the state, there's a state study that's going to be mandated by AB 835 on single exit stairways. Until that study is complete next year, I ask that you guys hold on anything. The safety Angelenos depends on well-designed emergency egress, and moving towards single stairway apartment buildings raises serious concerns. For example, a 2021 Maryland study, University of Maryland studies found that 53% of fire life safety systems are not working as intended. I don't know about you, but I don't want to depend on my safety on a coin flip when it comes to single exit stairways. So I ask that you reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Eddie Escoto Alvarez, resident of District 14 and LAOC Building Trades Council representative for Los Angeles County. I come to speak for item number 7 on affordable housing. I speak in front of you because we feel that all affordable housing, including HACLA, needs to be built with labor standards. We've already kind of set labor standards in Measure A out, most likely, ULA, and other things throughout the city and the county. And so we're not asking really to rewrite the rules. We're just asking to look at the rules that we've already put in place and let's follow those rules. And on things that we don't have rules, let's look at what we've passed in the past. There we go. We've already passed, and take those into consideration. Building affordable housing on the backs of workers who are going to be making well below prevailing wage is not what we should be doing. It sets a bad precedent for us as a city and as a county. So if we're going to build affordable housing, we have to build it with people who are making a good, solid wage with a pension and health care. That means a union wage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Wickersham. I'm here on behalf of E&B Natural Resources, speaking in opposition to item number 5. As discussed in the comment letter we submitted, there's no justification for an interim control ordinance prohibiting well clean-outs, such as acid well maintenance. Well clean-outs are a routine maintenance activity and are necessary for operators to comply with the pressure testing required by the federal regulations imposed by the Underground Injection Control Program. There is no emergency justifying an interim control ordinance, and it's not needed to preserve the status quo. In fact, the status quo allows the use of these types of routine maintenance activities, and they require notification under the notification rules of the Air Quality Management District. As the motion states, oil operators must still adhere to all regulatory rules and land use conditions, which are extensive. Oil production here is the most regulated on Earth, and prohibiting basic maintenance will only require the importation of more foreign oil, which is not subject to the same standards and requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Epstein. I am the Director of Policy and Research with Abundant Housing LA, here in strong support for Agenda Item 4, which would amend the local building code to allow 6-story single-stair buildings. I want to express appreciation for Councilmember Rahman and Yaroslavsky and Chair Blumenfeld for bringing forward this really important motion. Single-stair unlocks a lot of parcels where we can't build housing in the midst of a terrible housing crisis. It also creates more livable buildings, family-sized units, access to light and air from multiple sides. And so this is a really important tool in the kit. I really appreciate you taking this first step in the process today to making these wonderful buildings possible in Los Angeles, and look forward to supporting this as it moves through the council. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kevin Wu. I'm with YIMBY Los Angeles, and I'm a resident of CD13. As a resident of LA, I'm impacted by this city's high housing costs, so I'm in strong support of item 4 to update the building code and allow for buildings with a single staircase. We need to make it easier to build more housing in the city, and this will allow us to build, larger units with better ventilation and more light. So we need to make it easier to build those kinds of units. So thank you for reviewing this motion. I urge you to support it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Monica Rivera. I'm a real estate professional, homeowner, and native of Los Angeles, born and raised, as well as a member of Abundant Housing LA. I am also speaking in support of agenda item 4. Outdated building codes requiring 2 stairwells in smaller apartment buildings drive up costs, limit design, and shut out smaller local investors. The current rules favor larger institutional developers and restrict the kinds of infill housing that we need. This isn't just a technical fix, it's design forward and it's people first. It leads to reduced construction costs, leads to more livable homes filled with natural light, airflow, and community space, which contributes to mental health. In a city like Los Angeles, that needs to be part of the housing conversation in addition to creating more housing as well. Other cities like New York and Seattle, and even countries like Switzerland, which actually has one of the lowest rates of fire-related deaths in the world, have safely embraced single-stair design with modern fire systems in place. We can too. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Lauren Glazer with Latham & Watkins, here on behalf of Warren E&P to speak on item number 5. Warren operates an existing oil and gas production facility in Wilmington. Our comments here today focus on the process associated with the adoption of new ordinances. We note that certain statements in the motion mischaracterize the nature and risks associated with routine acid washing and have submitted a letter into the record with additional information. We have not yet commented on issues involving preemption or Warren's vested rights. Today, we respectfully request that this committee direct planning staff to work with the oil and gas industry before presenting ordinances for further consideration. We note that the motion was introduced in December 2024 before the city formally entered into a settlement agreement with Warren and other operators that obligates the city to conduct public outreach before adopting new regulations on oil production. We hope that the city will undertake a much more robust public outreach effort as it works to develop these new policies. Warren looks forward to participating in this public engagement process and working with the city staff. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is George Bocanegra. I am a union carpenter. We urge you to support the labor standards study for ED1 projects. Last year, Mayor Bass publicly announced her support for labor standards in the ED1 ordinance, and Councilmember McOsker introduced a motion to study the addition of labor standards. Right now, there are workers being exploited on ED1 projects because they lack crucial protective guardrails. There is wage theft, there is cash pay, and there are labor brokers. By exploiting construction workers to build housing, we are not solving the housing crisis, we are making it worse. ED1 has been successful in cutting red tape and entitlement review and approval. We cannot change the cost of construction materials, but we can ensure the workers are not exploited on affordable housing projects when contractors and developers are faced with these issues. If there are no labor standards, the residential construction workforce will suffer. We know that because contractors are exploiting workers on affordable housing projects in LA right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Salvador George, and I'm a union carpenter. We urge you to support the labor standards study for ED1 projects. On top of everything the previous speaker just said, since last year, there's a new threat to vulnerable construction workers. Contractors can now hold the threat of ICE and deportation over the heads of the workers who ask to be paid. Now, more than ever, labor protections are needed to strengthen our workforce and to give these workers the support they deserve when building affordable housing. As union carpenters, we urge you to support the labor standard study for ED1 projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hello, my name's Isaiah. I live in CD10. I'm just here to speak on the Affordable Housing Streamlining Ordinance. I still think 5 incentives is too high because the density bonus has been very strengthened by the state. So I think that you know, we don't really need the Affordable Housing Streamlining Ordinance to exist. We can process it without it. I'm also against the labor standards being put in there because basically the less you pay people, the more apartments you can get built. Ideally, they would just work for free, but that's probably unlikely. I'm also against single staircase reform because God forbid there's a fire, people might not be able to escape from their apartments, you know, and I think it could create some overcrowding in certain neighborhoods if the staircases didn't have to get built. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so that's everyone who wishes to speak to those particular items, and so again, I'm going to move that we adopt items 3 through 8 and 10, and again, for items 4 and 5, the recommendation to adopt the motions. For items 3, 7, and 8, to adopt the motions as amended. Colleagues, any comments, questions, concerns on that? Otherwise, we can call the roll.
And
Councilwoman Hutt?
Mr. Chair, in addition, items 1 and 2 are being continued.
Yes.
Yes, item 1 to the April 22nd meeting, and item 2 to the May 27th meeting. I will call the roll.
One more. Did you have, no, okay, yes, seeing no other colleagues on the queue, we'll call the roll on that then.
Yes, items 1, 2 again, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and I think you also mentioned item 10, Mr. Chair, on the cultural heritage nomination?
Yes, correct.
And inclusive of item 10, to approve that. Mr. Blumenfield?
One moment.
Yes.
Mr. Nazarian, you wanted to call 4 special for the moment? Yes. Separate vote for 4, okay. So if you could, all of those except for item 4?
Okay, so all the ones I stated except for item 4. Mr. Blumenfield?
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt?
Yes.
Mr. Nassarian?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
And Ms. Rahman, absent. So those are 4 ayes, and those are adopted.
Okay. Then next up is, would be item 4 that Mr. Nazarian called special. Did you want to speak to that, have folks come forward, or just separate vote?
I know I'm a little late to the game. I was going to just ask if it could be continued to just give the folks that were requesting from our labor friends an opportunity to work on this. Or if there isn't the interest, you can vote on it, and I'd be voting to either abstain or to vote no.
Okay. Well, before we move to that, I understand that Councilwoman Rahman's staff member is here to speak on this. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm sure there's somewhere.
Yaroslavsky's office. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Chauncey. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. Zachary Warma with the Office of Councilman Yaroslavsky, here on the councilman's behalf to ask for your approval on item 4. On item 4, this motion will have a transformative impact on our ability to deliver more affordable, livable, and larger units for families without having to make any changes to local zoning or land use. By updating the city's building code to allow for single-exit, single-stairwell buildings, which thanks to improvements in safety standards are as safe as dual-loaded structures, we will allow for units with more natural light and ventilation and buildings that have more green space and space for families. Per a recent report from Pew Research, single-stairwell buildings reduce development costs by 6 to 13%, and again, are as safe as dual-loaded structures, and enable smaller apartment buildings to be financially feasible. Across North America, over 18 jurisdictions, including San Francisco and San Diego, have recently initiated work to legalize single-stairwell buildings. On behalf of the Councilwoman, I want to thank Councilman Rahman for co-authoring this motion, Chair Blumenfield for seconding, and for the tremendous advocacy of the Livable Communities Initiative. And again, on behalf of Councilman Yaroslavsky, we request an aye vote here today in committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, as I understand, what we're doing here today is, if we move forward with this, is instructing the department in consultation with the fire department, the planning department, with input from livable cities, to present within 90 days modifications to the building code to allow for single exit. We're not adopting those, we're asking them to present those to us in related matters. So that's where we're moving forward. I mean, personally, I'm okay with moving forward on that. Again, we're not adopting it, we're asking them to present it to us. But I'm open to discussion on this, and obviously, does anyone wish to add comment or concern on this? Mr. Zarian.
I was just speaking to the planning department because I can tell you.
We can call the planning department up and say whatever it is.
No, it's okay at this point. I had just, there's been incidents where young individuals have been trapped. When my former boss had taken office in 2010, there was an incident of a 13-year-old boy passing away in a similar unit where there was only entrance and exit from one stairwell. And so I'm just very sensitive about this. What I would ask is if we can consider also adding fire department or the fire marshal to, if appropriate, to this as well, so that there could be some report back from them as well.
Absolutely. Well, the way it's written, it does say instruct the Department of Building Safety in consultation with fire department and planning department.
Okay.
And with requested input
Okay.
from livable cities. But if there's something more specific, I'm happy to add it.
No, that addresses that.
Okay. Okay, then are we prepared to take a vote on that? Seeing no other comments or questions, let's open the roll. If you could call it.
Yes, so the vote is for item number 4, the motion by Ms. Rahman Yaroslavsky Blumenfield. Mr. Blumenfield,
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt,
Yes.
Mr. Nassarian,
Aye.
Mr. Lee,
Aye.
and Ms. Rahman absent. That's 4 ayes, and that motion is adopted, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that then takes us to, I believe, number 9, is that right?
There's item 6 still pending, Mr.
Item 6, okay. Item 6 was the, I think, yeah, we can handle that. This was my recommendation is going to be to approve the city attorney recommendation in its report to set aside, vacate, and annul city council's October 13th action. This has to do with the property. I mean, this is, while I personally, as I've mentioned before on this ED1, I disagree with the way that the courts are interpreting this. Unlike the president and the executive branch that we have now, I actually respect the judiciary and the separation of powers, and therefore would urge us to move forward and approve the city attorney recommendation. But before we do that, we want to take public comment on that, but that's going to be my recommendation, just so everyone knows. While I disagree with the court, I'm going to recommend that we do move forward with a report denying the appeal filed and sustaining the determination of its incompleteness by Planning Department under the Permit Streamlining Act for the property located at 8217 North Connecticut Avenue, and remand the application back to the Planning Department for further processing consistent with the writ. So with that, is there anyone here who came to speak on item 6? If so, please line up. Seeing no one wishing to speak on that item, we can then move it to the committee if anyone has any additional comments. Seeing no members on the queue, let's take up that item as described. We could call the roll.
Yes, so as you've stated, Mr. Chair, to approve the city attorney recommendation in its report dated March the 7th, 2025. Mr. Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt.
Yes.
Mr. Nassarian.
Aye.
Mr. Lee.
Aye.
And Ms. Rahman absent. That's 4 ayes, and that item is approved, sir.
Great, thank you. And I think we did 10 already, correct?
We did 10, sir. I think
Okay.
next one will be 9.
Okay, item 9. Let's move forward with that. If you could read that into the record, please.
Yes, sir. Item 9, it includes a previously certified environmental impact report, its findings, a report from the Planning Commission, and a resolution for a general plan amendment, a vesting zone and high district change, a draft ordinance, a code amendment, specific plan establishment in a community plan implementation overlay amendment. And the planners are present.
Okay, we'll get the planning report, and then I don't know if if anyone is here from the public who wishes to speak to that, we'll hear the report from the department, and then if there's anyone who does wish to speak to that, please line up on the side, and we will call you after the report. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, honorable council members. My name is Morson with LA City Planning. Again, item 9 before you is the One San Pedro project, which is for the phase redevelopment of the existing Rancho San Pedro public housing complex into a new mixed-use, mixed-income community with up to 1,553 new residential units, up to 130,000 square feet of commercial space, and approximately 5.3 acres of publicly accessible open space, as well as various other improvements throughout the project site. So again, the requests before you do include various general plan amendments, a zone and height district change, and also a CPIO amendment, all of which serve to facilitate the establishment of the One San Pedro specific plan, which will guide all design and development in this project area. The specific plan has been designed to utilize the city's new Chapter 1A zoning code, and the specific plan was approved by the City Planning Commission along with the rest of the project at City Planning Commission at the end of last year. Since that time, the planning department has continued to refine some of the provisions in the specific plan, and as well as the project's environmental standards in Appendix A. So a technical modifications and corrections memo was transmitted to the council file documenting those requested changes, which primarily serve to just better align some of the provisions in the specific plan with the new zoning code, and also to better clarify some of the enforcement and monitoring responsibilities of the project's various environmental standards. So that all being said, the planning department recommends that the Plum Committee approve the requested entitlements, as well as along with the changes suggested by planning staff in the technical corrections memo. As always, I'm available for any questions or comments. Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you. Before we get to questions, comments, we will open this up to the public. I believe we have some members of the public wishing to speak, so if I could have the first person come forward. I believe it. Just state your name and you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Buenas tardes, hablo español.
Un momento para traducir.
Buenas tardes, señora. Si puede hablar en pausas entre sus oraciones, por favor, adelante.
Buenas tardes para todos los presentes de esta sala. Mi nombre es Elizabeth Barajas.
Good afternoon to everyone who's here today. My name is Elizabeth Barajas.
Vivo en la comunidad de Rancho San Pedro por más de 20 años.
I've lived in Rancho San Pedro for more than 20 years.
Por lo tanto, he estado presente desde el día 1 en cada junta comunitaria, en cada junta de patio y en cada taller informativo.
And therefore, I have been there for every community meeting, for every yard meeting, for every workshop.
En los cuales también fueron incluidos nuestros vecinos del área de Barton Hill y nuestros vecinos del centro de la ciudad de San Pedro.
And therefore, that's also included our neighbors in San Pedro and our neighbors in Barton Hill.
En dichas juntas se nos ha informado del paso a paso de este proyecto.
And in those meetings, we've been told about every step of this project.
Junto con el señor King y la señora Jenny Skylen de Hacla.
Including with the members of HACLA.
Los organizadores han escuchado nuestras preocupaciones.
The members of the industry have heard our worries.
Y también han tomado en cuenta nuestras ideas y nuestras sugerencias con relación a este proyecto.
And they've taken into consideration our worries and our ideas in terms of this project.
Estoy aquí para pedirles por favor que apoyen apoyen el artículo 9.
I'm here to ask you to support Article 9.
Y en nombre de toda mi comunidad les pedimos por favor que lo aprueben. Gracias.
And I'm asking on behalf of my entire community, please approve this. Thank you.
Gracias. Next speaker, please. Welcome.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Montes, también soy residente de Rancho San Pedro, más de 30 años.
Un segundo, señora. Si puede hacer pausas y también si se puede acercar un poquito al micrófono. Gracias. Puede comenzar de nuevo.
Mi nombre es María Montes, soy residente también de Rancho San Pedro por más de 30 años.
My name is Maya Montes, and I've also been a resident of Rancho San Pedro. I've been there for more than 30 years.
Buenas tardes a todos y estoy aquí para pedirles de la manera más atenta, por favor, acepten el planeamiento para nosotros, ya que es del plan específico.
And please, I'm asking that you guys, in the kindest way I can, that you support this plan for us, this specific plan.
Y no tengan más retrasos, pues nuestra comunidad está muy contenta y emocionada por este plan.
Our community is very content. We're very excited for this plan.
Dando la oportunidad, se nos ha dado la oportunidad de priorizar nuestras prioridades.
It's given us the opportunity to prioritize our priorities.
Por eso nuestra comunidad queremos que empecemos pronto.
That's why our community wants us to begin soon.
También eso traería trabajo para nosotros.
This would bring us work.
ACLA también nos está preparando para tener clases como para la sección 3.
HACLA is starting to bring up classes like Section 3.
Eso también daría trabajo, como les digo, para ellos y saldríamos un poco de la pobreza.
That will also bring work, and it would help bring us out of poverty a little.
Y también traería más viviendas para muchas personas, puesto que serían más unidades de vivienda.
And it would also bring a lot of people housing, since we'd have more units to house people.
Muchas gracias por estar.
Thank you so much.
Gracias. Next speaker, please.
Hello, good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Jorge Quintero. I'm a representative for the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, Local 562, which represents the area of San Pedro. We're also excited about this project, but we're here to strongly urge your support for labor standards for the One San Pedro project. This development has the potential to create good family-sustaining careers, opportunities for local workers. Ensuring labor standards means that this project will not only provide much-needed housing, but it will also uplift the workforce that builds it. Furthermore, any deviation from the approved specific plan, including the acquisition of the 5.3 acres of public land, must come with clear and enforceable labor standards. The public land, public dollars should serve public good, and that includes ensuring that the workforce building these projects are paid fair wages and benefits and have access to safe working conditions and career pathways, such as our pre-apprenticeship programs and our apprenticeship. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Well, good afternoon, Honorable Chair and Council members. My name's Alexa Washburn. I'm Chief Development Officer with National Core, a local nonprofit affordable housing developer. Together with nonprofit Century Housing, the Richmond Group, and HACLA, we are the One San Pedro Collaborative, responsible for redeveloping Rancho San Pedro. The One San Pedro specific plan is a bold, community-led vision that will transform San Pedro for generations to come. The plan is a direct result of a multi-year, multi-tiered public engagement process, led not by HACLA or not by the developers and the planners, but by the very people who call this community home. Residents, local businesses, the neighborhood councils, and key stakeholders came together to shape a vision that reflects their needs, their priorities, and their aspirations. At its core, this plan is about the people. It ensures high quality, affordable housing. A key component is also workforce development, creating pathways to good paying jobs, career advancement for local residents. Through strong local hire commitments, job training programs, and partnerships with local businesses, the plan will generate new employment opportunities and ensure that economic benefits those who live and work in San Pedro and the surrounding community. This is not just a planning document, it is a transformative investment in a more vibrant, inclusive, and thriving future. By approving this specific plan, we are honoring the voices of the community and delivering a future they not only envisioned, but helped design. Thank you. Our team is here to answer any questions that you may have today. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional speakers? Next speaker? Is that it? Is there anyone else here who is here to speak on item 9? No. Okay. Colleagues, any comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll ask the CLA to read in the recommendation. Your mic
Mr.
needs to be on.
Blumenfield, Mr. McCosker's here. I'm not sure if he was, okay.
No.
Just checking.
Thank you. I checked as well, but good thinking and appreciate the thinking about it. So.
I will read the recommendations. 1, approve the resolution for a general plan amendment, vesting zone and height district change draft ordinance, and the proposed code amendment, proposed specific plan establishment, and a proposed community plan implementation amendment, as recommended in the Planning Commission report dated January 16, 2025, and adoption of project findings, and the technical modifications corrections recommended in the March 20th, 2025 Planning Department report attached to the council file number 250150, and the mitigated monitoring program recommended in the March 5th, 2025 Supplemental Planning Department report, also attached to the council file. 2, find based on the independent judgment of the decision maker, after consideration of the whole of the administrative record, that the project was assessed in the previously certified EIR, case number ENV 2021-10633 EIR, certified on November the 30th, 2023, and pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15162 and 15164, no subsequent EIR, negative declaration, or addendum is required for approval of the project. And 3, request the city attorney to prepare and present the following ordinances: the 1 San Pedro specific plan draft ordinance, the draft ordinance to amend the code to establish the 1 San Pedro zone as a special zone in a new section 8.3.5 of Chapter 1A of the Municipal Code, and 3, a draft ordinance to amend the San Pedro Community Plan Implementation Overlay, CPIO, to remove the project site from the San Pedro CPIO boundary. And I will call the roll, sir.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt. Ms. Hutt?
Yes.
She said yes.
Yes? Oh,
Yes.
sorry, couldn't hear you.
Sorry, yes.
Mr. Nassarian.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Lee.
Aye.
Thank you. And Ms. Rahman. Yes. That's 5 ayes and unanimous, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to turn to item 11. This is the appeal related to the single-family home on the parcel surrounded by Runyon Canyon. If you would please read this item into the record.
Yes, sir. Item 11, sir, it's an environmental impact report, the 3000 Runyon Canyon Project EIR, its findings, the mitigation monitoring program, and a report from the South Valley APC, and 3 appeals filed by Paul Edelman, Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, Garrett Weinstein, Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, and Mr. Jamie Hall from the Channel Law Group, representing the Federation of Hillside and Canyon Associations, Inc. They're appealing the 5 land use determinations, inclusive of a haul route, should it be needed, for the construction of a new 5,500 square foot, 2-story single-family dwelling, and the accessory living quarters as described on today's council committee agenda.
Okay, so we're going to first ask the Department of City Planning to present their report. Then we're going to offer the opportunity for the appellants to present their appeals. There's 3 different appellants. Each appellant can have up to 3 minutes. Then we're going to ask the property owner, give them an opportunity. They would get 3 minutes. Then we're going to go to the public. Any members of the public at that point who've come in on that item will get 1 minute each. Then we'll have a committee discussion and then ultimately, hopefully, move to a vote. So that's the order of things, and we'll begin with the department. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I am Katie Knudsen with the City Planning Department. This item is a continuation from February 11th, 2025. It is an appeal of the South Valley Area Planning Commission's approval of a specific plan exception, zone variance, zoning administrator determination, project permit, and design review for a single-family home in the Mulholland Scenic Parkway specific plan. The South Valley APC also certified the project's EIR and adopted the EIR findings and mitigation monitoring program. The applicant has provided to the record a response to the requested additional studies regarding fire safety in this area. They are here to provide any additional detail with regard to the studies and exhibits submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Then we'll move next to the appellants. If I could have the appellants who wish to speak come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Hall, and I'm here today representing the Federation of Hillside and Canyon Associations. I'm here to urge you to deny the project and grant my client's appeal. The project does not comply with the state minimum fire safe regulations. These are minimum regulations, which means the city has no authority to unilaterally deviate from them by imposing lesser standards. These regulations were made applicable to the very high fire hazard severity zones in the city of Los Angeles in 2021. However, the city has to date completely ignored these regulations and refused to ensure projects are compliant with these critical fire safety regulations. Since the last hearing, my client commissioned an expert report from a licensed professional engineer, a former employee of the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Engineering. Our expert concurred with what we told you last month, that Runyon Canyon Road does not have turnouts every 400 feet, and that 2 of the gates installed along Runyon Canyon Road do not have 14 feet unobstructed horizontal clearance. The city has offered no evidence in opposition to these undisputed facts, nor has the applicant. Rather, the city has argued that the regulations do not apply to existing roads. The city is wrong. The Attorney General addressed this issue in 2019 when it wrote a letter to the County of Monterey, which I have here in my hand right now, explaining that the regulations apply each time new construction is proposed. The AG's letter states, quote, "We note that exempting the project from the SRA regulations simply because the project is a pre-existing road would undermine the intent of the SRA regulations." And senior board counsel for the Board of Forestry said the same thing in a letter to the County of Sonoma in 2020. I have this letter right here, and it states, quote, "Sonoma County has repeatedly maintained that the regulations do not apply to existing roads. Sonoma County's position is incompatible with the plain language of the regulations and opinions and letters issued by the Attorney General of California. More importantly, the fire regulations themselves, which constitute the basis for the certification of determination, clearly provide no exemption for existing roads." And then the Board of Forestry reiterated this again in 2022 when they adopted the final statement of reasons for the regulations, saying, quote, "The board is unaware of any authority suggesting that building construction access from existing roads should be treated differently than on new roads." The applicant has argued that the project is exempt from the regulations because the parcel map for the parcel was approved prior to 1991. However, our Attorney General again refuted this theory in a 1993 official Attorney General opinion, and this is what it says, quote, "A blanket exemption for all construction and development activity related to a parcel covered by an approved tentative or parcel map would violate these principles of statutory construction." The Board of Forestry again reiterated this. There is no exemption for this project. So what do you have here? We have undisputed evidence that this project does not comply with the regulations and it is not exempt. As such, you cannot make the required findings for the entitlements, and the EIR is fatally flawed because it doesn't even talk about the regulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And before the next speaker, Mr. Spindler, standing up and gesticulating is very distracting. If you could try to stick to your seat and keep your hands, sit on your hands or something. Mr. Edelman, the floor is yours.
Honorable members, I'm Paul Edelman. I'm the Deputy Director of Natural Resources and Planning for the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy and the Chief of Natural Resources and Planning for the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. Both of our agencies are appellants, and I'm a member of both, so hopefully I can have a little more than 3 minutes just for, I think that will do it, representing 2 appellants. This project's just too big. It'll be disruptive in the park forever. I think the key letter of today is D for discretionary, capital D. There is no right to have a 10,000 square foot house in this park, period. You have the power to ensure the public interest in the park, and we hope you do. You have not been offered in the EIR a low-impact alternative that will work with the park. The EIR is flawed and cannot be certified. There's all this focus on this big house and on a single family, and this is not what this is about. This is about the park more so than keeping the needs of the house. The house may be fine, but half a mile, some kind of a house there might be fine, but not half a mile into a park. That's a long distance. What about the park? What about the park users? What about the park animals? They're not discussed. The applicant had the audacity in the latest rebuttal to you to say that the project would have no impact on the park. That's crazy. How about the half-mile-long driveway? That's crazy to go into the park. How about the 420-foot-long, 20-foot-tall retaining wall system to hold 14,000 cubic yards of dirt on a slope that covers 1.5 acres? That's the equivalent of a football field and a half spread over the mountainside where everyone could see it in the middle of the park. You need a lower impact alternative. Think about too, there's an extra 0.6 of an acre, which is almost 30,000 square feet of extra brushing right along the Runyon Canyon trails forever, just to make room for this mansion. You can't hide this thing. You can't even if it's half buried, you can't hide it. And then think about it, 365 days a year, 24/7, they'll have nighttime access, driving in and out of there. And it's not about, what about if they sell the house, which could happen with one signature. You could have the biggest, greatest party house in the city right there in the middle of Runyon Canyon Park on a substandard road. The family's not going to own it forever. It's bad for the park. I hope you will do what is good for the park. Please grant our appeals. Do not certify the EIR. It does not give you the choices you need to make as decision makers. It might be a great house for fire purposes, but it's not the right house to be in the island of Chaparral in the middle of a park. It's in Runyon Canyon Park. And they'll talk about how just because the Mulholland Design Review Board said, oh, we told you to put it there. But that's because they wanted to do a 9,000 square foot house. And don't believe it's 5,000 square foot. It's a 3,000 square foot basement. Most of us don't even live in 3,000 square foot houses, let alone 3,000 square foot bases with a crater and a ridge line. So stick it in a better place and it would be a lot better. And don't forget, 420 foot long retaining walls, 20 foot tall, think about it.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Approve the appeals. Thank you, council.
Okay, is there any other appellants that are here? No. So then the property owner can come forward or their representative. Since you had 2 appellants, they each had 3 minutes each. That will give you equal time up to 6 minutes. Unless there's anyone else you have with you. Otherwise, you have the full 6 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Sherry Bonsdell from Jeffer Mangles, and I'm representing the owner, the Palencia family. We are withdrawing our request for a variance to retain a kitchen in the accessory living quarters, and we are withdrawing our request for a specific plan exception for the 3rd retaining wall. Therefore, the only entitlements that we are requesting are project permit compliance with the specific plan exception for the building within 50 feet of the ridge, and the specific plan exception for cut and fill of 14,000 cubic yards of soil. In addition, we were able to reduce the amount of grading to 12,647 cubic yards of cut-in and the same amount of fill. So there are no variances requested for this project. The council office requested that we evaluate the impacts of a project that is half the size. We did this and set this forth in Exhibit 16 of our letter. And it provides that even if the project was half the size, it would only reduce the grading by 1,685 cubic yards. The reason for this is much of the grading is taken up on site to widen the driveway and also to replace the grading back on top of the project. So it would not make a difference if the floor area came from the bottom or any other part of the project because the entire project is buried and embedded in the hill. This would result in The smaller project would only reduce the grading by a few days and would not be perceptible after the building is constructed. The EIR fully evaluated the project and determined that there were no impacts. The MRCA proposes locating a smaller project on the north side of the hill, but as we have stated, the DRB specifically denied this location for the project and also a location on the south side of the hill because it was visible either from Mulholland Drive or from the park. In fact, the only location the DRB approved was embedded in the hill where the project is only partially visible from the west side and not from the park trail. The two exceptions for being near the ridge and grading are required for the best and the preferred project as determined by DRB and as unanimously supported by the APC. The project will also be the new paradigm for fire safety in residential construction. It's a steel and concrete structure located under an earth berm and covered with fire-resilient landscaping. It has 3.3 acres of fuel modification area that surrounds the existing and new structure. The new residence will be significantly safer for the Valencia family than the existing historic structure. And in fact, the Valencia family performs fuel modification on the entire 4.5 acre property currently. And during the recent Sunset Fire, the fire never came up onto the slope, and the Valencia family and the other family that are located on Running Canyon Road were able to easily leave during the fire evacuation. The council office requested that we provide additional fire studies, which we did in our letter, and these all showed that the project will be safer than the current conditions and that there's no wildfire risk on this property. These included a stamped fire hydrant access plan that was re-reviewed by LAFD on March 20th, 2025. These also included erosion control plans and construction fire management plans, and a fire code check analysis showing that it fully complies with all the LADBS requirements for very high fire severity zones. The Hillside Federation letter claims the project does not comply with the state fire regulations, but actually provides additional evidence showing that it does comply. The project is accessed from the north part of Running Canyon Road, which is paved and deemed a private road. The applicant does not utilize the south part of Running Canyon Road at all. As shown in our letter, we fully comply with all of the road requirements set forth in the state fire regulations. The road is considered a driveway because there's 4 or less homes on it. The road width is required to be 14 feet, and Running Canyon Road is 14 feet or greater. The slope is underneath 16 degrees in front of our property and all the way to the north gate. And as shown in the channel law engineer exhibit, we fully comply with the turnoff requirements. As part of our project, we add another fire truck turnaround and therefore have 6 turnoffs within the entire length and comply with the 400-foot turnoff requirement. We also, our gate on the north side also fully complies. As part of their submission, Jamie Hall claims that Monterey County and Sonoma County reports show that we must comply with widening requirements for the road. In this case, our road is already 14 feet wide. We're not required to widen it in any way. And those provisions involved projects with significantly larger hotel, residential, and retail projects that were on a similarly sized road. In our project, there's no increase in density, and so it will have no additional traffic on the northern part of Running Road. The road complies with every driveway requirement in the state fire requirements, and we respectfully request approval by the City Council of our project as designed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we will hear from members of the public who wish to speak to this item. If you're here as a member of the public, please line up on the left side of the room. And you'll get 1 minute each. Starting with Mr. Mims. Welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Charlie Mims. I'm a resident of CD4. and president of the Hillside Federation. And by the way, it doesn't comply with state fire code requirements because there is no turnout within 400 feet of the gate on Mulholland. But without getting into those kind of details that our attorneys talked about earlier, I would just say there's an existing cultural historical monument home on the property that Manny Valencia told us prior to the pandemic his family was living in. I believe it's a 3-bedroom home. They have a swimming pool and outbuildings. In order to qualify for a variance or for an exception, it's my understanding there has to be a proven hardship by the applicant. We don't see any proven hardship here. He's got an existing home they've been living in, and should be enough for them at this time without building a mansion near the ridgeline, within the 50 feet of the ridgeline. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, council members. My name is Clinton Emmanuel Valencia, and I've lived at Runyon since I was 9 years old. Growing up, I really naively assumed that getting this approval would be easy. Maturing more, I've come to realize that it's quite difficult. You have multiple people telling you multiple points of view, and it's hard to know what the truth is. But digging deeper, you have to really consider the evidence being presented. We've done all we can to listen to everyone, conduct every study, redesign plans, get approval for MDRB and APC, and even receive a stamp from the fire department after the recent fires. Speaking truthfully, we've done everything asked of us. We followed the direction of our government officials. If you look at our findings, our project is in compliance with all applicable regulations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, council members. My name is Samantha Valencia, and I'm a resident of 3003 and the daughter of Manny and Alicia. I'm here today to simply ask that you support a home that's already met every legal and planning requirement set forth by the City of Los Angeles. This isn't just about one home. It's about whether residents can rely on a clear, consistent legal system to exercise their property rights. Because when someone plays by the rules, follows every regulation, and receives a recommendation from the planning department, they should be able to trust that the City of Los Angeles will stand behind that. I hope you can understand the hardship that our family has gone through and the bullying, because that's what it's come down to at this point, and I hope you guys can accept our project.
Good afternoon, I'm John Guile. I'm a neighbor of Runyon Canyon and a frequent visitor. I'm also the founder of the Friends of Runyon Canyon Foundation, and I speak strongly in favor of this development. We've worked very closely with this family in improving the park. It is an enhancement to the park. I know the gentleman said it is not about the house, it's about the park. The Valencia family has been extraordinarily helpful in restoring the park, saving animals, protecting the wildlife, and I think it's very important that we have truth in the public square. And we're hearing, this is a party house. Then we hear, this is a firehouse. This is a mansion. None of that is true. This family has complied with every requirement set forth by the City of Los Angeles. And unlike a number of families, this family is doubling down and reinvesting in the City of Los Angeles, in the public works, in the public parks. We have to honor that. We have to honor people that are investing in the infrastructure and making things better. And again, I'm in the park every morning. Please join me for a hike. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight. Nice to see you all. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Marion Dodge. I'm chairman of the Hillside Federation. I support the 3 appeals opposing the project. The Area Planning Commission erred in approving this project. The access to the property is too narrow and has no turnouts. It fails to meet the state fire safety regulations. Given the recent fire that occurred in Runyon Canyon Park, it is unconscionable to put people's lives at risk by approving a project that violates the state fire safety regulations. Wouldn't that put the city at a liability risk? Given that the city's current budget shortfall is due primarily to liability lawsuits, is it wise to approve a project that is so blatantly in violation of the state fire safety regulations it could cost millions of dollars in a lawsuit? You rightfully asked many good questions about this project at the February hearing. Now that you have more information, it's time to reject the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Mike Sullivan. I'm the landscape architect on this project, and it's quite an exciting project as it's been designed to integrate the house fully into the landscape so it, you can say, somewhat disappears. And you can think of it as peeling back the earth, tucking in the house, and then building, replacing the landscape over it. The impact visually will be quite small. Another point of this project is that we're incorporating full fuel modification zones, A, B, and C. A, which is low-growing plants and a pool. And then 100 feet beyond that, zones A and B will be fully irrigated, 100%. We're going to use impact heads that are metal, so they won't melt during a fire. The impact spray heads will not only restore the landscape areas, the natural areas, but will also provide fire suppression. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Travis Lashane. I'm a longtime member of a resident of Nichols Canyon, and I'm wholeheartedly in support of this house. I've been on this journey with Manny and his family for about a decade now. They have demonstrated considerable responsiveness to the feedback from both the board and the community, including revising the original plans. And this was out of genuine care for the community. Delaying and modifying the project repeatedly is a clear indication of their commitment of being both a good neighbor and just a good citizen. I ask you for your approval. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Ruben Minyahanov, and I'm a longtime resident of West Hollywood and hiker at Runyon Canyon Park. I'm here to express my support to Valencia Home Project. The property owners have followed all city regulations and guidelines and have dedicated nearly a decade to providing studies to the city. The Valencias have shown great respect and care for both the environment and our community. I respectfully ask for your approval of that project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Smith. I'm a longtime resident of Hollywood. I frequently walk Runyon Canyon. I've been fortunate enough to meet the Valencias. The Valencias warmly welcomed me to the property and showed me the plans highlighting where the new home will be situated and relocated in the existing historic home, excuse me. Personally, I've been fortunate enough to know the family, and I can attest to their inspiring characters and respect for the park. They have a deep love for the park and its history. The Valencias family's thoughtful actions and consideration of others are evident in the many years of delays and adjustments in their plans. I believe their intentions are of the good for all, and I propose to allow them to move forward with building their new home. Also, I was there on Saturday. Manny and I went for a walk, and he showed me the difference between small houses and small properties as to bigger houses with more room with bigger property. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Santos Martinez, and I am one of the civil engineers for this project. The project has been carefully designed to minimize visual impact. Access concerns have been addressed through a construction monitoring program, DOT-reviewed access, and on-site parking and staging plan. Fire safety measures include a new hydrant and full compliance with state regulations. Environmental sustainability has been a priority with green roof, pervious driveways, and minimal impervious area. Drainage will naturally integrate into the park using LID without structural BMP. Grading will result in no export. The homeowner has gone to great efforts to keep all caught on site and avoid disturbing park goers with truck traffic. This homeowner has gone through great lengths to respect the environment, park goers, and for the last 8 to 9 years adjust the project to account for the community's feedback. We respectfully request your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Next speaker.
I'm Randall Kleiser, the only other resident of Runyon Canyon. I've been there for 40 years. And my home was there, and so was Manny's before the city made it into a park. He had an approval of a much larger design several years ago, and he designed a smaller home to go into the spot. For 10 years, he's followed every rule. I've watched him. He's spent hundreds of thousands on surveys, studies, and tests. He's jumped through every hoop. Most would have given up, but he has a dream for a family home for generations. I've seen tasteless McMansions that have been approved all over the Hollywood Hills. This is not one of them. I've hiked every part of Runyon Canyon. I know all the sight lines. This will not affect anybody. The house will blend into the environment, and the wide paved road that goes to and from Mulholland to the house has fire trucks going up and down it all the time to rescue hikers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Alicia Valencia, and I live at 3003 Runyon. From the beginning, we understood that getting an approval would take time. We followed and completed the expectation outlined by the city, but I never imagined I'd be standing here 10 years later. Our main living room area is a small kitchen tucked into a hallway, with a small living room that also serves as our dining room. For a large family of 5 and a dog, this was never meant to be a long-term situation. Our family is emotionally and mentally exhausted, and we kindly ask for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia. Next speaker, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ron Mawson. I live directly across from the Valencia home. In fact, it's the only home I have a view of. Regarding home size, my lot is 11,000 square feet. My home was approved for 6,500 square feet, inclusive of a 1,500 square foot basement in 2019. My neighbors also objected, not knowing what was going to happen, so I appeased them and reduced it to 5,200, as Mr. Valencia has done. Now my neighbors thank me for improving the beauty of our street, adding value to their property by building retaining walls to fortify the 50-year-old slabs, which most had already seen movements and cracks over the years, something that the Mulholland Design Review Board indicated. As for fire protection, I see fire trucks driving on the road all the time, no issue. By adding turnarounds, hydrants, along with many other services, the fire department can utilize the Valencia property as a base to battle fires, improving the safety of the area. The current home is already there, and the new project will only increase the safety of the occupants. I fully support the project.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Manny Valencia, and my family and I live at 3003 Runyon Canyon. This project has been studied for over 10 years with extensive analysis and planning. We follow every rule and regulation set by the City of Los Angeles, making sure we've done everything by the book. This has been a long, careful, and fully transparent process. We respectfully ask that you consider the comprehensive findings and conclusions established over years of diligent work, along with the approvals we already received from MDRB, APC, and city staff, who have all thoroughly reviewed our plans and recommended approval. Ultimately, I think this decision comes to one question. Will it be guided by the law or influenced by personal opinion? I urge you to make a fair, fact-based, and legally sound decision that record supports approving the project. Thank you.
I'm Stacy Henderson, Vice President at Kaja Environmental Services, the preparer of the EIR on behalf of the city. The EIR comprehensively analyzed 20 topics and determined that all impacts would be less than significant. I wanted to highlight some of the analyses and conclusions from the EIR. The EIR included a full analysis of construction impacts, including those with respect to grading, air quality, noise, and traffic, and all impacts were determined to be less than significant. The project would also include a construction traffic management plan, which would ensure that construction would not affect adjacent park access and that Runyon Canyon Road would be kept clear at all times. With respect to biological resources, the EIR included 3 biological surveys. These surveys concluded that the project would not have the potential to impact any special status species. They also concluded that the project site does not function as part of a wildlife movement path, and therefore the project would not adversely impact wildlife movement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Mike Dyer. I'm the retired Chief Deputy of the Los Angeles County Fire Department and retired Fire Chief of Santa Barbara County. I went out and did a site assessment at the Valencia residence on February 9th and also reviewed all planning documents, including the Los Angeles Fire Department approvals for water and access. And currently, they meet all of the requirements for the Los Angeles Fire Code. As far as defensible space goes, currently the residence is in compliance with all defensible space standards of the Los Angeles Fire Department. The existing property has a fuel modification area of 2.88 acres, and the new fuel modification area will increase to 3.3 acres. That will add additional safety with the landscaping and the irrigation that the previous speaker spoke about. Also, all proposed project construction materials and fire sprinkler system will meet and exceed all building code and fire department code requirements. With construction of the new residence and its modern safety fire construction features, the property will be in a much safer condition for the property owner to live in than the current residence, and be safer for also the surrounding community.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Amin Ayub. I'm the architect of 3003 Runyon Canyon. This project represents a decade of thoughtful refinement and stands as a model for responsive hillside residential design. In relation to 4.5 acres, the home is a small earth berm home hidden from the Mulholland Scenic Overlook designed to minimize impact. This design complies with all regulations and structural standards, incorporating fire-resistant materials, carefully calibrated vis-a-vis the site's natural conditions. This was a collaborative effort, balancing architecture, environmental responsibility, and community engagement. The home is fully optimized in size and location, accomplished through a decade-long relationship with the community, and should be championed as a significant win for the city and the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Stacy Brenner. I'm with Brenner Consulting Group, and I handled the community outreach as well as the permitting for this project that is currently in plan check right now. We support the recommendation of the staff report as well as the MDRB's recommendation to support this project. We also support the various departments who weighed in on the staff report, which includes LAFD, Los Angeles Fire Department. We did extensive outreach for this project over the course of the 10 years. We've had 7 MDRB meetings. I can list all the dates of those, but I don't want to use up the rest of my 20 seconds. We also met with the South Valley Area Planning Commission, who recommended approval. We also met with the Hillside Federation, MRCA, Hollywood Hills Neighbor Council. We have more than 200 supporters of this project. I also want to say that from the last time we met here, we also went back to LAFD just to make sure that we were going to be compliant, in which we are with this project as we will go through the permitting process. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Chris Parker. I'm the CEO of Pacific Crest Consultants. I've been the entitlement consultant on this project since its beginning. Important correction from what my colleague Sherry said when she was doing the applicant's statement. The grading request that is part of this project is not a specific plan exception. We want to make that very clear. It is not a specific plan exception. It's a zoning administrator's determination, so it's a much easier case to find, and the Mulholland Design Review Board, the Mulholland staff, the South Valley APC all agreed that the zoning administrator's determination was appropriate and correct, and that this grading was fine. In fact, the specific plan would allow for 10 times the amount of grading that we're proposing. So that's why we're not asking for an exception to the specific plan on grading. We are asking for a specific plan exception for the location of the house, and that was at the urging of the Mulholland Design Review Board. They told us they wanted it there. We could have moved it to a place without an exception, but the board that you appointed to protect the Mulholland Scenic Corridor said, no, we want it there. We approve the exception. So please support the decisions that have already been made. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello. First, thank you for your continued support on behalf of our city. My name is Joan Cashel, and I'm a resident of CD4. I speak for the many neighbors and visitors to Runyon Canyon Park who couldn't be here today, but sent many, many opposition notices. I too walk Runyon, and when I talked to the hikers, they were appalled at the idea of this project. I support the SMMC, the MRCA, and the Hillside Federation appeals. There's been lots of misinformation that's been bandied about right now, so please read their appeals. They state the facts. But for me, the overriding question is, why does this one applicant get these major variances and exceptions that the rest of us must follow here in the city of LA, and in the middle of a public park that serves over 2 million people a year? These are put in place to protect us all against fires, environmental damage, and improper land use. What meaning could they possibly have if they can be changed to suit one person? I am not opposed to private individuals building on private property, but this applicant bought a home in a public park. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Finally. Honorable council members, my name is Don Andrus, an officer of the Hillside Federation and a founder and president of the Friends of Runyon Canyon Foundation. I am also a firm believer in permanent property rights and the ability to enjoy one's family residence. However, I do oppose this project because, 1, it does not meet the state fire and safety regulations. 2, requires numerous variances, exemptions to a prominent ridgeline in the middle of a park that has just experienced a significant fire. 3, it is only accessible via a hiking trail averaging 1,000 hikers a day. 4, has not provided an alternative concept minimizing the impacts to the park. 5, shows no hardship requiring variances and exemptions. And 6, inappropriately classifies an existing historic house as an ALQ. As we work with the city to help Runyon recover and protect from its fires, we do not need this project, which would be a precedent, endangering hillside communities as well as impacting our Runyon community, and I encourage you not to force fit this project in the park. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that concludes public comment. Anyone else who wished to speak? I don't see anybody else lined up. So we'll now move to the council for comments and discussion. We'll start with Councilwoman Rahman.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blumenfield. As I said in our last meeting about this project, a lot of the work that I've done as the chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee and work that has come in front of this committee as well has been to reduce the sometimes confusing and often very long process of building in Los Angeles. And I've particularly tried to do this for new multifamily construction, new affordable housing construction. So I have deep empathy for the frustration that members of the Valencia family shared today in their experiences with what has, I agree, has been a very, very long and frustrating process. However, I am the council member for a very complex set of geographies, including our unique hillside geographies. We deal with numerous development challenges here, and we've dealt with a number of challenging projects, including those that push for out-of-scale development, excessive grading, protected tree removals and mature tree removals, and wildlife habitat disruption. And for me, in these delicate areas, this type of development not only negatively impacts our local ecology, it also burdens our constituents with larger projects, complicated construction, and I think, frankly, is sometimes beyond the capacity of the city to regulate effectively and to keep people safe even through these complex projects. I have spent a lot of time, my staff and I have spent a huge amount of time reviewing the record, including the EIR, the appeals, appeal responses, staff reports, and supplemental materials that were provided by the applicant's representatives. And I am still finding that the information provided is not sufficient to meet the merits of the city's land use regulations and discretionary approvals. I want to just say that my staff and I are more than happy to continue working with applicants for a suitable project, but at this time, I can't support this version of the project. I therefore move to deny the certification of the EIR on the basis that a CEQA is not required for a project being denied. Secondly, to grant the appeal of the specific plan exemption due to a lack of adequate findings that can be made for the proposed project. And 3, to modify the zoning administrator findings in the council file dated 10/29/24 as supported by the evidence in the record, including the oral and written testimony of the appellants in the project file. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I will second that motion. I mean, for me, this building in this area is one of the highest bars, you know, that I can think of in terms of that you would need to meet to do something like this. So I had a lot of concern going into this, and again, it would have to be extraordinary for me to personally to consider, but I try to keep an open mind, and as a councilwoman, you worked very hard to try to see if there was a pathway, and I respect that and appreciate that. Obviously, you know, you haven't come up there. That pathway is not clear, and so what's before us is something that I agree that it cannot support. And so I, as I said, will second your motion to grant the appeals. Colleagues, any other questions or comments, concerns? Okay. In that case, we can call the roll on Councilwoman Rahman's motion.
Mr. Blumenfield, before I do that, I need to read into the record the findings to grant the appeal.
Okay, please do.
Okay, I will read them. It's finding number 11, finding for a specific plan exception. This finding cannot be made. The original findings provided requiring the strict application of these regulations would result in practical difficulties inconsistent with the intent of the specific plan, as it would prevent the construction of the new house. The zoning administrator erred because the applicants already benefit from the use of their property, as they have a 2018 square foot single-family home on the project site and have not been denied the use of their site. On the other hand, the proposed project, based on its size, location, and the over 20,000 square foot of ground disturbance, is in direct conflict with the purpose of the Mulholland Scenic Parkway specific plan under multiple provisions, including the following: assure maximum preservation and enhancement of the parkway's outstanding and unique scenic features and resources, preserve and enhance land having exceptional recreational or educational value, assure that land uses are compatible with the parkway environment, minimize grading and assure that graded slopes have a natural appearance compatible with the characteristics of the Santa Monica Mountains, preserve the natural topographic variation within the inner and outer corridors, minimize driveway and private street access into the right-of-way, preserve the existing ecological balance, and to protect prominent ridges, streams, and environmentally sensitive areas and the aquatic, biologic, geologic, and topographic features therein, among other applicable standards. Additionally, the proposed project does not meet the intent of the following provisions under the Mulholland Design Guidelines. Objective 1.2, preserve the parkway's scenic features, existing ecological balance, and wildlife corridors, and conform to the project to the character of the parkway environment. Guideline 8, prominent ridges, grading, alteration, or removal of designated prominent ridges is not permitted unless 5 findings can be made, and it is limited to a maximum of 1,000 cubic yards. Construction on top of designated prominent ridges is prohibited by the specific plan, and construction within 50 vertical feet of a prominent ridge is not permitted unless 4 findings can be made. Guideline 9, ridges, top construction. Construction and grading on a ridge, whether or not the ridge is designated as a prominent ridge, should be avoided. The fact that the 5 findings could not be made requires the extraordinary use of the specific plan exception. Based on the above, there is not an unusual hardship or practical difficulty that is inconsistent with the general purpose and intent of the specific plan. Finding number 14, findings for a specific plan exception. This finding cannot be made. The zoning administrator erred in finding there would not be a detriment to the public welfare, to the property or improvements adjacent to or in the vicinity of the subject property. This area is one of the city's most important resources, and protecting it from development that does not conform to the existing zoning standards that were established to protect the welfare of the community will be detrimental. Based on the size and scale of the property within 50 feet of the ridge line, and based on the sensitive nature of the area and the excessive amount of grading within the sensitive topography, the proposed project would result in an aesthetic damage to the Mulholland and other view sheds during construction and operation. The project is visible from the Mulholland's outer corridor in a designated public parkland, and the construction activities related to noise, impeding park access, and biological impacts, even if mitigated, to not be significant for purposes of CEQA, will cause impacts that will disrupt visitors who enjoy the park and the ecology of the area. That concludes the findings, and I can call the roll, Mr. Blumenfield.
Okay, please do.
Mr. Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt.
Aye.
Mr. Nassarian, absent. Mr. Lee.
Aye.
And Ms. Ramon.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, and those actions are approved, sir.
Great, thank you. Okay, next we'll turn to item number 12. If you
Item
would
12.
read that
Mr.
into the record.
Mr. Blumenfield, I will read into the record. It is a categorical exception from CEQA, and the related findings, a report from the Planning Commission and an appeal filed by Supporters Alliance for Environmental Responsibility, SAFER. They're challenging the approval of 3 land use entitlements, the density bonus rather, compliance review, the community design overlay, compliance review, and site plan review. And the appeal also challenges the adequacy of the environmental clearance, the categorical exemption from CEQA for the construction of a new 7-story, 95-unit residential development with 11 dwelling units reserved for very low-income household situated in CD4.
Great, thank you. So we'll first have the department, then we'll have the appellants if here, and then the applicant if here to respond, and then we'll go to public comments. So we'll begin with the department. Welcome.
All right. Good afternoon, Plum Committee. My name is David Woon, Planning Assistant with City Planning. Item 12 on the agenda involves an appeal related to the construction, use, and maintenance of a 95-unit residential development located at 18430 through 18434 West Manoan Street. At its meeting of November 21st of last year, the City Planning Commission approved the project, which included on and off menu incentives and waivers of development standards through the density bonus program, a community design overlay compliance review with the Reseda Central Business District Community Design Overlay, and a site plan review. Following this decision, the project was appealed by SAFER. The appeal challenges CPC's decision to approve the project, and it raises concerns regarding the project's environmental clearance. Therefore, the project's exemption from CEQA is also under consideration in today's meeting. After reviewing the appeal points submitted by the applicant, planning staff recommends that the appeal be denied. The appellant argues that the project will result in significant impacts and health risks related to air quality and noise without providing any substantial evidence. A justification for the Class 32 categorical exemption, along with technical reports, were prepared for this project, and they concluded that the project will not result in significant health or environmental impacts. Therefore, staff recommends the Plum Committee to deny the appeal. Additional details related to the appeal points were addressed in the staff letter dated March 19th, 2025, that was submitted to the record. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Okay, next we will move to the appellant, Supporters Alliance for Environmental Responsibility, or SAFER. Welcome, you have up to 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, honorable council members. My name is Chase Preciado from Lazo Jury LLP. I am speaking on behalf of Supporters Alliance for Environmental Responsibility, or SAFER. SAFER respectfully requests that the committee grant SAFER's appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of the infill exemption prepared for the 18434 West Van Owen Street project. The committee should instead require the city to prepare an MND or EIR. CEQA review is required because there is substantial evidence that the project will significantly impact noise, air quality, and indoor air quality. Thus, the project does not qualify for the exemption on its face, and the unusual circumstances exception to the exemption applies. First, noise expert Annie Toncheva from the acoustical consulting firm Wilson Eyrig found that the project will significantly affect noise. Ms. Toncheva found that the predicted noise level from the project construction is 75 decibels at sensitive receptors close to the project site. This is 19.5 decibels above the ambient noise level. This amount of noise increase is subjectively heard as more than an approximate doubling in loudness. Second, air quality experts Matt Hageman and Dr. Paul Rosenfeld from the environmental consulting firm SWAPE found that the project would significantly impact air quality. SWAPE found that the project will produce about 1,039 pounds of carcinogenic diesel particulate matter, or DPM, over a 2-year construction period. The nearest sensitive receptor is only 328 feet from the project site. Thus, the residential cancer risk from exposure to DPM emissions is about 330 per million, exceeding a CEQA cancer risk threshold of 10 per million for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. Lastly, industrial hygienist Francis Offerman found that the project will significantly affect indoor air quality. The project's long-term indoor emissions of formaldehyde gas, a known carcinogen, will expose its future residents to an airborne cancer risk of 120 per million, exceeding the CEQA significance threshold of 10 per million. This is even assuming that all materials comply with the California Air Resources Board's formaldehyde airborne toxics control measure. The city did not address this impact. Thus, there is substantial evidence that the project will significantly affect noise, air quality, and indoor air quality. These impacts create an unusual circumstance, thereby precluding reliance on the exemption. For the reasons discussed here and in SAFER's written comments, SAFER again requests that the committee grant SAFER's appeal and require the city to prepare an MND or EIR. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Next, if the applicant is here, get 3 minutes as well. Mr. Rand, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, council members. My name is Dave Rand. Our firm Rand Pastor Nelson represents the applicant of this proposed mixed income project on Van Neumann in the San Fernando Valley. I'd like to start off just by saying this couldn't be more different than the item before you. There are no ecological issues of concern here. There are no fire issues of concern here. There are certainly no unusual circumstances associated with building a mixed income project on a major boulevard in the San Fernando Valley. Experts have rebutted all of the SAFER and SWAPE information that has been submitted to the planning department. The record is crystal clear. There are no construction noise impacts that would exceed the city's thresholds of significance. There are no air quality impacts associated with DPM or otherwise that would suggest this couldn't qualify for a categorical exemption. The health risk assessment that SAFER suggests is needed is not required by AQMD or any other agency for a residential project. Those types of analyses are required for distribution centers and uses that have high degrees of truck trips, not your typical garden variety residential project in an infill context. And there will be no indoor formaldehyde impacts associated with this residential project, or frankly, any other project of its type, because Mr. Offerman, the expert who keeps submitting these reports to the city, fails to take into account a number of regulatory requirements that ensure these impacts don't occur. And putting that aside, it's not a CEQA issue under the established CEQA case law regardless. Not unusual, just a needed project, exactly where it should be. Please deny the appeal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there any members of the public who came to speak on this item? If you are, line up. Seeing no members of the public, we will move to committee discussion. Colleagues, does anybody have any comments or questions? Ms. Robinson, your district, no comments? Okay. I'm going to make a recommendation then that we deny the appeal that was filed by the Safer Alliance and thereby sustain the Planning Commission's determination to approve the environmental clearance, a categorical exemption from CEQA, and 3 land use entitlements for the construction of a new 7-story, 95-unit residential development with 11 dwelling units reserved for very low households and 102 vehicle parking spaces for the property located at 18430, 18434 West Van Owen Street, which is now in Councilwoman Rahman's district, but right next door to my district. I know it well. Seeing no other comments, questions, let's call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Ms. Hutt.
Aye.
Mr. Nasserian, absent. Mr. Lee.
Aye.
And Ms. Rahman.
Yes.
That's 4 ayes, and that's approved.
Okay, and we confirm that that clears the desk?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, that clears the desk. We'll now move to general public comment. So if you're here for general public comment, please come forward. Mr. Spindler, you have patiently waited through this entire hearing to make your public comment, and I know you have something really important to let us know for all that patience. So welcome, and we eagerly await your wisdom. Go ahead.
The prohibition on using the N-word and C-word, the word nigger is spelled N-I-G-G-E-R. The C-word, cunt, is spelled C-U-N-T. This is very, very important, prepared by your city council. You think you FBI targets are being funny? You think this is going to go? See, Current Price signed it, and he's currently on release. He is subject to being arrested and detained if he violates the terms and conditions of his release. One of these conditions is violated because the potential jurors are being excluded from free speech by him signing this document. So anyway, keep fucking around and you'll find out what happens, Bob. You're a chicken.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope that was worth the wait, and we certainly appreciate it. So with that, seeing no other members of the public here for general public comment, well, I'll just end it. I won't kick you out yet. All right. This meeting is hereby adjourned.